Fight, flight, or freeze. How are you going to respond when the pressure's on? Watch this video and find out. Have you ever wondered why shooting in a competition can be so stressful, or even shooting around with your buddies can get in your head? Well, your brain might think it's in danger, even though it's not. You might be familiar with the concept of fight, flight, or freeze, and this is a survival mechanism built into us. And depending on your personality, this is how you might react in a dangerous situation. Now, this concept of fight, flight, or freeze might be directly linked to archery and how you're going to react in a tournament style or a hunting situation. When you're standing on the shooting line, your brain is going to sense that you're under pressure. And this can be pressure like fear of failure or being judged when you don't do well. And this might trigger one of the three responses, namely fight, flight, or freeze. So let's look at a few examples of how these responses link up with archery. So a fight response might be where you feel very confident and you want to go for a 12. You feel almost like aggressive, or you don't feel as nervous, you feel more channeled towards a goal. And you take the situation head on, you're very kind of intense. That might be a fight response. So the flight response might be a little bit different. It might be where you want to try and get out of the situation mentally and physically. This is an example where you almost want to shoot a 9 on a Vegas round, where you just want to get out of the situation. Your mind almost leads you towards that. That might be a flight example. The freeze response might be something like where you are just shutting down. You're not thinking and you're just not in it. And your body's just, and your mind is just shutting down. Where it gets interesting is that we get different personality types like type A, type B, and a type C, and a type D. And depending on your personality type, your primary response might be one of these. And we all have a little bit of the personality types in us. But the main response that you feel in a competition will be directly linked to your personality type. So let's look at the different type of personalities and how they might respond in a competition. So type A archers are going to be a fight response. These archers are often competitive and driven. Type A archers are the ones who push themselves to the limit and they want to win at all costs. And they're almost kind of aggressive when they shoot. They're intense, action-orientated, and often get a little bit frustrated when they don't do as well. So we were shooting once at a competition, and I was shooting with a few guys in a group, and the one guy was leading, and he was a type A personality, and then he had one bad shot, and he was so focused on that bad shot and so frustrated that it threw him off completely, and he lost his lead just by not getting over that hurdle of making a bad shot. He was so focused on winning. So the solution to this problem where you get frustrated and you get a bit irritated might be to channel your energy differently and channel this energy that you feel more into maintaining composure and keeping calm. So the type B archers are the calm and relaxed guys. We've all seen them where they just look like they're not even feeling the pressure. These are the type B archers. So type B archers are the laid back archers, and they don't seem to be as affected by pressure as much as the type A personality. But these type B personalities might be so laid back that they lose focus, and after a while as well, when the pressure builds and they're starting to feel pressure, they might try to retract themselves from the situation. They might have a little bit of a flight response. They're trying to avoid that competition intensity as well sometimes. We were shooting once, and this type B personality guy was shooting with me, and then he did very well. Obviously, he was very relaxed, but then they often lose focus. They need to, try to maintain their focus on competing. They often are so laid back that they kind of lose focus of the whole competition. And then also when the pressure builds, then when they see they're lacking behind, they might go into a flight response. So this guy just got so relaxed that he kind of just forgot to compete, and eventually almost everyone overtook him. So the solution to this is to physically balance the relaxing personality that you have with trying to just channel your energy into focusing. You have to force yourself to focus on the situation, even though it might just be for short periods. So the type C archer, that might be someone that is over analytical and also overthinker. It's almost like it's a perfectionist kind of mindset. So these archers are always trying to change things up while they're shooting. They're overthinking. They are just over analyzing everything, and their minds are so busy with trying to fix instead of just competing and doing their best. See, Archer, the solution for you might be in the moment, let go of trying to perfect everything and just trust your training. Just rely on what you practice. So the type D archers might be prone to a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. And they also are going to have a freeze response when the pressure gets too much. So type D archers are going to be, they freeze up in the situation. They're going to be overwhelmed, and they are constantly thinking about the mistakes they're going to make, or they are afraid of making mistakes. And this can hold them back, and they almost kind of just freeze up and become almost like non-responsive and don't take action. I was shooting with a guy once who even apologized when he was shooting badly. He was apologizing to me. And this guy didn't even finish the round because he was so, I don't know, he just froze up, and he was so caught up and not doing well that he just walked off the course. So the solution to the type D archers out there, you're going to have to remember to have fun as well. And you're going to have to do a lot of relaxation methods like breathing and just, focusing on trying to keep calm in the situation. And you're going to have to build confidence. It's going to take time, but you have to build confidence over time and just focus on your training and achievements in the past, and you have to lift yourself up. So by this time you might know what main personality trait you have. And remember, they can overlap a little bit. So you might have a little bit of fight and you have a lot of freeze, and these come and go. But your main personality trait might be overwhelming to one side. For example, fight. So by this time you might have a good idea of where you fall into the spectrum of responses. But we're going to do a quiz now so that you are very aware of where you fall into the spectrum. So you can analyze this yourself. And how do you typically approach challenges? If you go all out and the need to succeed and to be very driven, you're going to be a type A personality. If you're laid back and you stay calm and just kind of just get things done, you might be a type B personality. Or are you a perfectionist? You overanalyze everything and you just want it to be perfect, then you might be a type C person. Or do you worry about making mistakes, always feels nervous and very anxious, then you might be a type D personality. How do you feel during a tournament? Do you feel that you are driven and that you are focused on just succeeding and winning? Then you might be a type A personality. And then if you are just enjoying it, you see often these guys have fun, they're just laid back and they're just enjoying the tournament, then you might be a type B personality. And then if you are over analyzing and thinking about equipment all the time, you want to change everything all the time, nothing feels perfect, then you might be a type C personality. If you are overwhelmed and you so anxious that you don't even enjoy the tournament, then you might be overwhelmingly a type D personality, or you might have a trait of type D. How do you handle mistakes? When you make a mistake, do you feel that you push yourself harder? You get frustrated, but then you push yourself harder? Then you might be this falls into the type A personality. If you just brush it off and it doesn't bother you, then you might fall into the type B kind of personality. If you are over analyzing everything that went wrong and you're thinking about other things as well, and you open up this rabbit hole, then you might be a type C personality. If you even get more nervous and you lose all your confidence just because of that one mistake, then you might be a type D personality. So let's look at the pros and what type of personality types they are. Well, obviously there are all kinds of pros and all kinds of personalities, but we're going to look at a few examples now, and I'm not going to do everyone obviously, but I'm going to give you a few examples, and this might also help you to relate to that pro and also to see what they do and how they handle things, because each trait have obviously a positive and each trait have a negative towards as well, and it's how you handle it and how you use it and channel your energy. So a classic example of a type A personality would be Levi Morgan. He's a very dominant archer in 3D. He's almost like aggressive in his shooting style. He takes risks and he wants to win at all cost. Even he would rather come last than come second almost, or it would be the same for him. It won't make a difference if he's second or last. And he puts everything on the line, and he's very driven and focused on winning. Winning is everything for him. That might be an example of a type A personality. Another example of this might be Tim Gillingham. He has some of that features, and he also has some of the type C personality where he's overanalyzing everything. But obviously, remember, there is a overlapping factor, but Levi Morgan is mainly a type A personality. Okay, let's look at type B personalities. Well, type B, obviously, I think you have realized by now that it's actually a very good personality type to have for archery, and there's quite a few examples. But the one that comes to mind for me first is Brady Ellison, the recurve archer. He's always so cool, calm, and collected. And even under the worst pressure of Olympics, this guy just seems so calm. Obviously, he's feeling nervous, but he just seems so calm and he seems to handle pressure so well. Another example would be Chance Bayabath. It would be Jesse Broadwater, Kyle Douglas. There's many that I can think of, and they are easygoing. They seem calm. Again, there will be some nervousness inside, but it seems that they channel their nervousness into just being relaxed. For some, it's just amazing how they stay so relaxed. And these archers are often the good indoor archers because they just do the same thing all the time. They don't get nervous. They obviously get nervous. I've seen them get nervous, but it's not as nervous as a type D personality, for instance. Let's look at a type C archer as well. Tim Gillingham will be, I think, mainly this personality type, even though he has a lot of type A. He's very analytical, overanalyze everything. And I think there are actually a lot of archers that fall into this category, but it might not be their main trait of, their personality, but they are overanalyzing everything. They are fiddling all the time. They want to change everything all the time. If something doesn't feel right, they change almost everything. They start from the beginning. I think in archery, generally, we all have some of this personality. So a lot of times the advantage of having this personality is that your equipment will be tuned to perfection. You'll be so ready with your equipment. They work hard. And, just in a competition situation, if you can channel your energy into focusing on shooting well and leaving your equipment, this can be a very valuable personality trait to have when you are an competitive archer. Type D archers, I don't have the examples of a lot of them. I think we all have a little bit of type D in us, and I think not a lot of archers are mainly type Ds in the pro circuit. They're not as visible. It might be, but I can't think of one now at the moment. So I'm sure there are examples of these archers. I just can't think of one at the moment, but they must be out there. And we were more focusing on the first three of personality types because I think it's more common in archery. So which personality type do you think you are? And how does this affect your archery? And how do you handle pressure and all that? Share your thoughts in the comments below and tell me more about how you handle pressure situations, and also how your personality affects your archery. Because I'm fascinated about this subject, and I would appreciate if you just comment below. If you find this content helpful, please consider to subscribe and also hit the like button. We're going to do more videos on this in the future about the personality types. We'll delve deep into it because I do think it's very, very valuable. This is just to optimize your archery through getting the most out of your type of personality that you have.